Alright, this is Access 2013. I'm your instructor Adam Veazey. This is going to be Tables Part 6 of our discussion on tables. What you're looking at now is the same database we were using last time when we talked about referential integrity and junction tables and such as that. I have added a field to the employees table here just to demonstrate what I'm going to talk about in this video. In this video, we're going to talk about lookup fields. Okay, lookup fields. And the reason we need lookup fields is going to be really kind of obvious once you see the problem here. So the field I added is name state, and that's going to be the state that the employee lives in. And I've made it a short text a short text data type. Sorry, it's right there in front of me. My mind just completely skipped out on me for a second here. Actually, I'm going to change that to number is what I'm going to do. Well, no, I can keep it short text. There we go. And I'm going to change the field size to 2. I'm going to save this. Yeah, some data may be lost. There's no data in that field to begin with. What it's telling me here is because I changed the field size of the text field, that if I change the size of it to something smaller than what it was, it'll truncate it, meaning it'll chop everything off but the first 2 characters, which is fine. Now here's the problem with this. Here's the problem with having this as a text field, right? Is, let's say, well, I live in Florida. So I'm going to put in capital FL, right? Let's say somebody else comes along and they live in Florida too, but they put capital F, lowercase l, and then we'll say test employee lives in Florida as well. We'll make everybody live in the sunny state of Florida. So they're going to put FL in their lowercase, right? Or maybe somebody doesn't know the abbreviation for the state in which someone lives. That might be a problem too. Now they got to look it up and all this other crap and everything. Well, we're going to change this, and what we're going to do is we are going to change it to a lookup field. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the lookup wizard, just expand the data types, and lookup field is right there. Go. And the lookup wizard starts, and it asks me a question. First thing it asks me is I want to look up the field to get the values from another table or query. The other thing it asked me is I will type in the values that I want. Okay, so I'm going to click next. Go, and I actually made a table called states. Okay, and we'll go over that table in a second. We haven't gone over queries yet, so if you don't know what a query is, don't worry. The values that I want is just going to be the state name and state abbreviation. So that way if somebody doesn't know really what the abbreviation is, they can look it up that way. I don't want the state ID in there. I'm going to see if I can get away with leaving that out, because the state ID is just an auto number field that we use for primary key purposes. Next. Go. I can sort up to 4 fields. I'm going to sort by state name, and then I'm going to do a secondary sort by state abbreviation, which should be the same thing, but you never know. I'm going to click next. Go. Florida, New York, and Texas is what I have in there. It's going to hide the key column for me. That's fine. There we go. What label would you like for lookup field state? We're going to click finish. Alright, so we're going to save it. There we go. Yeah, it's going to lose it. And the reason it's going to do that, yep, here we go. Alright, so it deleted the information because it made it a number, because it relates it via primary key. If I go back to my relationships here, I didn't have that relationship before. If I close out of it and I open it back up, yes, I want to save changes I made. And I'm going to go back to database tools, and I'm going to open it up. Relationships. There we go. It's not there, but it's implied. So you won't see that when you go here. The states table I have is just a state ID, a name, and an abbreviation. But if I go back to my employees table and I go back to datasheet view, so I can actually see the data here, when I click in the state table, I can see that I have all this information here. Florida, we'll make him live in Texas, and we'll put the test employee in Florida as well. So we have nobody living in New York, right? So if I refresh all of it, there we go. Now, if I want to add something, if I want to change something, if I want to have somebody live in, here we go, Oregon, Oregon, I guess, or something like that. Or what if we want to put them in, let me see, Kansas, Kansas. Is it going to let me do that? Nope, it's not going to let me do that because it's not on the list. So again, it ensures the integrity of my data. Alright, and I can run through this again. I think I made a little error when I did this. So I'm going to run through this again. Oh yeah, here we go. Of course I got to fix my error first before I do anything. And I wanted the abbreviation there. I didn't want the, we'll put him in New York or her in New York, why not? I wanted the abbreviation in the list, not the name in the list. So what you have to do, I gotta kill the relationship. Alright, well what I should have done was I should have put the abbreviation up top side first. And then, oh, I gotta add that. That's what it is. Maybe I have to add that table to the relationships and it'll show it. It doesn't automatically do that. Well, that's kind of dumb. Anyway, there we go. Close that. There we go. And we can see the states table is automatically related here. And if you ever want to redo your lookup field, you're going to have to delete the relationship, which means you just click on it, click delete, confirm the deletion, go back to your employees table, and we're going to run this again. Lookup wizard, there we go. You can also type in the values you want. I like to keep this in a separate table, and I'll tell you why in a future video. Well, actually, I'll tell you why now, because if you ever create another database that needs that information, you can just import that table, a copy of that table into your database, and you have it available to you. So it's nice for portability, and you don't have to recreate crap or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on state abbreviation, state name, go, next, go. I'm going to sort by state abbreviation or state name. I think all the abbreviations start with the same letter as the first name of the state, but we'll just do it by state name this time. Hide key column if I uncheck that this time. State ID is there. I don't want to hide that. Let's not hide that this time, okay? Let's click next. There we go. When you select a row from Lookup Field, you can store a value from that row in your database, or you can use the value later to perform an action. I'm going to keep state ID. Tell you why at a later time. Choose a field that uniquely identifies the row. Which column in your lookup field contains a value you want to store in your database? We're going to pick state ID this time. And now, what happens if I check this? Here we go. Oh, look at that! I can enable data integrity too. So it's going to set up referential integrity when it creates this relationship for me. Right? I don't want to do that. I'm going to click finish. Go. Save it. Yes. Now, if I go back to datasheet view, here we go. The state is 1, 3, and 1, which that's fine because, again, we're dealing with raw tables right now, so we do have to look it up in the states table. When we get into queries and stuff like that, you'll see how we can make this stuff really jive for us, because looking through and adding information to the actual tables is horrible. 99 times out of 100 we really don't do that. We don't sit there. We might manipulate information in a table if the GUI system doesn't have a way for us to change it, or we might run a query against it to do a mass modification or something like that. But 99 times out of 100 we do not input data directly into a table. Right? We use a form or something else, and you've seen forms online if you bought something from Amazon, or Newegg or something like that, you've used a form. They use something a little bit more complicated than Access, obviously, to run their enterprise. But it's really neat because this way, if I go here, maybe I want to relocate to Texas. Why not? Right? So I'm going to relocate to Texas. Boom, there we go. I can change it, right? And I don't have to worry about anything. Okay, isn't that neat? I don't have to worry about saying somebody misspelling Texas or somebody putting capital T lowercase x. That's really the value of these lookup fields. And you can have these lookup fields for anything. You're not limited just to state. If I wanted to add something here, let's add Kansas, Kansas. KS, I guess. We're going to make the abbreviation. I don't know the abbreviation for Kansas right off the top of my head, but that looks good. We go back to tables. It's not there. I have to refresh all, right? Because it's not dynamic. And boom, there's Kansas right there. And again, it's in alphabetical order by the abbreviation. So I've just moved to Kansas. And I'm probably going to go to Oz next. Okay, so lookup tables. There's a real helpful wizard. Can you do this yourself? Meaning, can I go into design view? And if I go down to my state field here, there's a lookup portion in the properties here. All right, look at all the stuff the wizard does for you, though. Don't fill this out by hand. You will drive yourself crazy. You will absolutely drive yourself nuts. Okay, the only thing I would change, if I wanted to change anything, was I would change the where it says column heads from no to yes. Let me save that. And let's see what change that makes in our database. There we go. And if I put the captions in the fields like I should, and I could hide that column there, that'd be fine. There's a couple of enhancements I can make to this, but this is functional, and you can see the functionality of a lookup field. All right. In the next lesson, we are going to explore input mask, what an input mask is, how to use them, and there's a couple other small little options we can do with input mask. What an input mask is basically is you put in someone's phone number. Well, it's going to add the parentheses in the area code, and it's going to add the dash between the first 3 digits and the last 4 digits in a telephone number. And there's a couple other things you can do with it too. It's not just limited to telephone numbers. You can even create your own input mask. All right. So I will see you then, and I look forward to seeing you in part 7. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you for viewing.